Alright, guys, today I'm playing against Wendy and Isabel. Let's see how this game goes. Alright, guys, today I'm playing against Wendy, and this game actually became way crazier than I expected. The game started with e4, and I responded with the Sicilian, but this wasn't the normal Sicilian most people play. It was a slightly different setup that not many players use, which is known as canal. And early in the game, I decided to fianchetto my bishop because I wanted long diagonal control and a safer structure. But Wendy immediately started attacking that bishop setup, so I had to block the pressure using my knight. After that, she became super aggressive. She pushed her knight towards and started putting pressure on my territory while also pushing queenside pawns. And at that moment, I honestly wasn't fully sure what the best plan was. I was thinking about developing my knight into outpost square, but it wasn't the perfect outpost because she couldn't. She could always push a pawn and kick my knight away later. So instead of forcing it, I decided to challenge her knight first. I pushed it back. She came closer again, and a few exchanges I managed to double her pawns, which was really important for the position. Once I damaged the pawn structure, my next two idea was simple: open up the center and create a weakness and attack the weak pawn, like the pawn which is not defended by any pieces. She tried to counterattack with the rook and start putting pressure on my pieces, but then I noticed the one important thing: one of her center pawn was becoming weak. So I started stacking pressure on the pawn with multiple pieces. Eventually, she defended it with knight. But during all this activity, my queen was getting attacked by the rook, so I had to step back for a moment. Then we entered a phase where a lot of pieces started getting traded, and honestly this is where the game slowly started becoming better for me. One of her rook was basically inactive for a long time, while my queen and king became much more active in the position. Not queen, actually. At one point, I even tried going for a mating attack. It wasn't immediately working because she defended carefully, but I kept increasing the pressure little by little. I grabbed a pawn. She offered a queen trade, but I didn't really wanted to simplify it because my pieces were more active. Then suddenly the position became tactical. I found a sequence where I was able to win a queen somehow, and after that I also managed to win a rook. At the point, the game was basically over. From there, it was just a clean conversion and finally a simple ladder mat, or we can say Ikaru's favorite mate to finish the game. Honestly, it is a really interesting Sicilian game overall. Sorry, guys. While during recording, I finished the script. Like I just talked way more faster than expected, so that is why I have to show you guys some silent clips for next 2 minutes. So sorry for that. All right, the next game was against Isabel, and honestly, this board was way more annoying than I expected. The game started with the Queen's Gambit declined, and pretty quick it turned into a Catalan setup. Early on, Isabel castled kingside while I was trying to activate my pieces, but the problem was she had really strong control over the center. I honestly couldn't challenge the center directly at first because every square was controlled so well. So instead of forcing anything, I focused on improving my position slowly. and I managed to fianchetto my light square bishop, which helped a lot because now at least one of my bishops became very active on the long diagonal as it attacks the king at certain point when the things get for us. But even then, Isabel kept increasing pressure in the center and continued controlling important squares. At one point, I decided to push some pawns and try opening the center a little, and surprisingly, it actually worked pretty well. While all this was happening, my dark squared bishop also became active, and I started gaining tempo against her pieces, and I pulled back her queen. Then the game slowly, maybe we can say it like I pushed back a queen. Then the game slowly entered the more positional phase where we started trading pieces. And honestly, Isabel played really solid chess for most of the time. The only really, the only really whatever mistake she made wasn't even a huge blunder. There was a one moment where she had the chance to take my rook, but for some reason she didn't take it. I think that was the blunder of the game. Maybe I cannot say it as a blunder. Maybe it is a mistake because our position was kind of weak at when she have to trade the rook for a knight, and that small moment actually changed the game a lot. After that, I started putting pressure on one of her pinned pieces, which is the knight. Basically, my rook was pinning her knight to the queen, so if she moved the queen, the knight would fall immediately. Because of that, she was forced to keep defending carefully with her queen. Then things become really tactical. She started attacking my queen while I was also attacking hers at the same time. We traded some pieces, and during this phase, I was calculating very deeply because one mistake could completely lose the position. Eventually, after a few more exchanges, my queen became super active, and then finally, I found the chance to win her knight completely. At that point, the position became completely winning for me. From there, it was mostly technique. I pushed my pieces forward, coordinated the rook and the queen properly, and finally finished the game with two queens checkmate near the king, which is kind of look like a rook king checkmate. Not exactly a traditional ladder mate, but very similar for it. Honestly, this game felt much harder than the previous one because Isabel defended almost everything really well. And also, I have to share you this, guys, that I just played her with like three times with black pieces, but with while playing the Sicilian opening, and I still cannot win against her because her tactics is so good than most of the player who are in 1800. So that's the problem, and I somehow managed to win with the black because white is simple to win. So I just wanted to win every boards with black pieces. That's it, guys. Thanks you. Have told me that why don't you record your own voice and post that with the video, and I was like, I was kind of embarrassed that I just stumble like this, stumble a lot while talking in the video, even though if it is script, because I have the some kind of breathing issues. So that is why I tend to avoid to speak with the video. But now onwards, I'm going to create videos like this with my voiceover. And if you guys are fine with my English, or do you guys want in Tamil, maybe I will try to do it in Tamil also. And yeah, that is what the suggestion that